Welcome to Time Before Us, the channel where ancient history breathes again. Before time had a name, before the first human breath, there existed a world fierce, forgotten, and alive. Creatures of scale and silence, predators wrapped in. Feathers, titans that shook the earth. Lives erased, bones buried beneath eternity. But they are not lost. They are waiting. This is Time Before Us, where prehistoric worlds rise again, and the stories buried in stone finally speak.
Title: Dinosaurs that were straight-up sociopathic killers. Chapter 1. The Blood-Crazed Raptor. Picture this: a humid, dense forest stretching across the landscape of what we now call Montana, around 110 million years ago. The air is thick, sticky with the scent of decaying vegetation and the musky tang of predators. Sunlight struggles through the dense canopy, casting fragmented shadows across the forest floor, where ferns and cycads grow in dizzying abundance. Everything seems calm, almost peaceful. And yet, in this quiet moment, there lurks a predator that will make even the largest herbivore tremble. This is Deinonychus, a dinosaur that rewrote the rules of prehistoric hunting. Standing about 5 to 6 feet tall at the hip and stretching over 10 feet from snout to tail, it was a relatively modest predator in size. But size, as they say, isn't everything. In intelligence, speed, and sheer ferocity, Deinonychus was a nightmare incarnate. Imagine walking through this forest, hearing the low, rumbling footsteps of a herd of Tyrannosaurus, unaware that razor-sharp claws are inching silently toward them from the shadows. Unlike most predators, Deinonychus didn't just hunt to eat, it hunted to dominate, to terrorize, sometimes even to overkill. Fossil evidence paints a chilling picture. Puncture wounds on bones, scratches along ribs, marks that indicate repeated attacks on the same prey. These weren't swift, efficient kills, they were drawn-out, violent affairs. Sometimes the victims were already mortally wounded, yet the predator continued to rip, tear, and slash. What made Deinonychus especially terrifying was its famous sickle-shaped claw, roughly 4 inches long, tucked neatly on each foot. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a tool of precision terror. Modern studies suggest these claws were strong enough to pierce vital organs, grip, and hold prey in place, while the predator tore at the flesh with its jaws. And yet they were agile enough to leap onto moving targets, much like a cat or wolf would ambush its prey today. Now, imagine this hunter not as a lone wolf, but part of a coordinated pack. Evidence from fossil sites suggests multiple Deinonychus may have attacked the same prey simultaneously. A Tyrannosaurus, which could weigh over a ton, might be surrounded by 4 or 5 of these predators. They would slash at its legs, puncture its ribs, and rip at soft tissue while the prey struggled to escape. Blood would stain the ferns, the forest would echo with bellows of pain, and yet the predators would remain methodical. This wasn't chaos. This was organized, calculated, and terrifyingly efficient. But the darker side emerges when we look at their social behavior. Unlike wolves, Deinonychus may not have been the picture of teamwork and loyalty. Fossil evidence hints at occasional cannibalism, and the fact that multiple predators attacked the same prey could have been as much about competition as collaboration. In other words, these raptors weren't just killing. They were asserting dominance, showing off power, and occasionally killing for sport. And here's a truly unsettling thought. Deinonychus might have hunted not just for survival, but for sheer thrill. Modern predatory animals like lions and killer whales occasionally kill for reasons other than hunger, perhaps stress, dominance, or instinct. Deinonychus could have been the prehistoric equivalent, a predator capable of cruelty beyond necessity. Its intelligence added another layer of terror. Among non-avian dinosaurs, Deinonychus had a relatively large brain for its body size. Its skull housed keen senses, excellent vision, acute hearing, and the intelligence to strategize ambushes. Scientists hypothesized that they could track prey over long distances, choose the right moment to strike, and coordinate attacks in ways that seemed almost tactical. In modern terms, it's like combining the cunning of a wolf with the ferocity of a lion amplified tenfold. But there's one fossil site that chills paleontologists the most. A field in Montana where Deinonychus remains are found, alongside a mass of Tyrannosaurus bones. Here the story becomes eerily cinematic. The herbivore skeletons bear marks of repeated attacks, slashes along the ribs, claw gouges along limbs, teeth embedded deep in bones. Some Tenontosaurus were likely alive when first attacked, only to be finished off later. The predators didn't always eat immediately. They tore and left, came back and tore some more. This wasn't merely feeding. This was ritualistic, almost theatrical carnage. Even more fascinating and horrifying is how this behaviour influenced our cultural imagination. When Jurassic Park was being conceptualised, paleontologists Robert Bakker and John Ostrom suggested that Velociraptor's cinematic behaviour be based on Deinonychus. Spielberg's sleek, cunning, terrifying raptors owe their DNA to these little sociopaths of the Cretaceous. And if you think the movie version is scary, consider that the real creatures might have been smarter, faster, and far more vicious than anything Hollywood could portray. And while Deinonychus is famous, it's not the only example of overkill behaviour. Fossils hint at similar hunting strategies among other dromaeosaurids. They exploited weaknesses, attacked repeatedly, and sometimes killed more than they could eat. They were apex predators, not because of size, but because of intelligence, agility, and the cold precision of their attacks. Imagine walking in the forest today, thousands of miles from Montana, and hearing the faint rustle of leaves. Now, imagine something hunting with razor-sharp claws, keen eyes, and relentless cunning. That's the level of fear these raptors inspired. It's primal, it's raw, and it reminds us that the natural world has always been capable of horrors beyond human imagination. Even when prey survived initial attacks, the trauma left by Deinonychus could determine the herbivore's fate. Broken bones, infected wounds, and exhaustion meant that survivors often succumbed later. In essence, these predators didn't just hunt. They reshaped the ecosystem, controlling populations, influencing behaviour, and instilling fear that lasted lifetimes. Finally, consider the broader implications. Deinonychus wasn't just a dinosaur. It was a symbol of what predation could be at its most extreme. It combined intelligence, cruelty, strategy, and physical prowess to dominate its world. In a sense, it was the blueprint for the modern conception of the raptor. Fast, smart, terrifyingly lethal, and terrifyingly sociopathic. By understanding these predators, we don't just see prehistoric life, we see the raw edges of evolution. Life wasn't kind, life was brutal, and in that brutality creatures like Deinonychus thrived, reminding us that even in the age of giants, the cunning and cruel could rule. So next time you picture a raptor, remember, the cinematic versions may be scary, but the real blood-crazed raptors were far more terrifying. Their legacy lives not just in fossilized bones, but in our imaginations, in the nightmares they inspired, and in the thrilling stories that scientists are still piecing together, one claw-marked bone at a time. Chapter 2. Allosaurus. The Butcher of the Jurassic. Imagine a vast, sun-drenched valley in the late Jurassic period, around 150 million years ago. The ground trembles with the footsteps of massive herbivores, Apatosaurus, Stegosaurus, and Camptosaurus. Clouds of dust rise with every stomp, shimmering in the golden sunlight. Birds, or their distant relatives, scatter into the sky. All seems calm, almost peaceful, and then, like a shadow materializing from the heat haze, it emerges. Allosaurus, the apex predator of this Jurassic kingdom. 10 meters long, 2 meters tall at the hip, and built like a lean nightmare, its jaws are lined with serrated, curved teeth, designed not to crush bones like T-Rex, but to slash, tear, and rip, like a living, breathing saw blade. But don't let size fool you. What made Allosaurus terrifying wasn't just its body, it was its method. Unlike other predators that might take down prey with one killing bite, Allosaurus was methodical, patient, and horrifyingly deliberate. Fossil evidence tells us of herbivores with puncture wounds along their vertebrae and limbs, marks indicating repeated strikes. Often, victims were already mortally wounded, yet this predator continued, tearing at sinew and muscle with relentless determination. Picture it, a young Stegosaurus grazing at the edge of a river. The water glints in its eye as it drinks, blissfully unaware. From behind, a shadow approaches, a predator silent, sleek, and utterly ruthless. Allosaurus doesn't rush, It calculates. The first strike is feint, testing the prey. Then comes the real attack. With jaws opening wide, it delivers a slash to the soft belly. Blood pours, terror sets in, panic. The prey tries to run, but every movement exposes another vulnerable spot. And still, Allosaurus follows, stalking, circling, striking again. But here's the horrifying part. This wasn't just killing to survive. Fossil sites reveal patterns of what paleontologists call overkill behavior. Bones of herbivores show multiple tooth marks, often far more than necessary to kill or eat the animal. Sometimes, Allosaurus may have been killing not for hunger, but for dominance, control, or sheer thrill. Imagine an intelligence in a predator, coupled with raw power, allowing it to experiment, to toy with its prey in a way that borders on cruelty. Allosaurus wasn't just a predator, it was a butcher. Its slashing teeth, strong forearms, and powerful tail combined into a deadly system of hunting efficiency. The forearms, often overlooked, weren't weak stubs. They were muscular, clawed instruments capable of gripping struggling prey, while jaws delivered fatal bites. One fossil, remarkably preserved, shows deep puncture wounds on the ribcage of a juvenile sauropod, matching perfectly with Allosaurus's teeth. The attack sequence seems almost choreographed. Slash, stab, rip, retreat, repeat. And what about strategy? Allosaurus may have hunted alone or in loose family groups. Unlike Deinonychus, evidence suggests a slightly more opportunistic approach. Strike when prey is vulnerable, avoid unnecessary risk, and if an animal is too large, attack in multiple waves. Imagine a predator that could assess the size, speed, and potential danger of its target within seconds, then decide whether to charge, stalk, or retreat. That's not mindless killing. That's calculated terror. Some paleontologists even speculate on psychological hunting. Allosaurus could have targeted weaker individuals deliberately, injuring them to separate them from the herd, striking fear into the rest. This method mirrors modern apex predators like lions or wolves, but with ferocity amplified by jaws and claws designed for sheer carnage. And let's not forget the carnage at fossil sites. In places like the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry in Utah, we see the aftermath of brutal encounters. Dozens of Allosaurus skeletons alongside hundreds of herbivore bones, many with deep overlapping bite marks. Sometimes juvenile Allosaurus skeletons appear among adults, suggesting predatory competition, even cannibalism. The predators were not just hunters. They were aggressors in a prehistoric battlefield, shaping their ecosystem with teeth, claws, and relentless cunning. What about the prey? Some of these herbivores weren't defenseless. Stegosaurus, for instance, could swing its tail spikes with deadly force. Sauropods were massive and powerful, able to crush smaller predators beneath their feet. But Allosaurus adapted. Fossils show healed wounds on Allosaurus themselves, evidence that fights with prey could be brutal, but the predator persisted. Pain, injury, even near-death experiences didn't deter it. In fact, surviving such encounters likely reinforced its hunting prowess, honing it into a more efficient and more terrifying killer. Now, picture this predator in action during a dramatic hunt. A herd of Camptosaurus grazing near a river bend. A lone juvenile Allosaurus spots a target, a slower, older individual separated from the herd. It approaches, silent, low to the ground, tail swaying for balance. Then the attack. Jaws snap, the victim screams, claws rake across flesh. Blood stains the river water, terror spreads through the herd. The predator may pause, circling, assessing damage before resuming the attack. If hungry, perhaps it feeds. If not, it leaves the prey to die, a chilling demonstration of its dominance. Even more unnerving is the possibility that Allosaurus may have killed rivals or weaker members of its own species in territorial disputes. Fossils show bite marks matching Allosaurus teeth on other Allosaurus, suggesting fights weren't always playful or defensive. This was survival at the edge of brutality, a predator that not only hunted with intelligence but fought with sadistic cunning. And here's a mindbender. Allosaurus coexisted with some of the largest herbivores ever. But size didn't intimidate it. Fossil evidence suggests adults may have hunted juvenile sauropods or attacked the weak, injured or isolated using precision strikes rather than brute force. It's like a master tactician with knives instead of guns, using agility, intelligence, and sheer audacity to dominate the Jurassic landscape. So why do we call it the Butcher of the Jurassic? Because its hunting behavior wasn't just predatory, it was surgically violent. Allosaurus wasn't a mindless killer, nor merely a scavenger. It was a predator capable of strategic cruelty, of inflicting pain beyond necessity, and of asserting dominance in ways that echoed across its ecosystem. Its legacy is clear. Where it roamed, terror followed. By studying Allosaurus, we glimpse the raw, brutal beauty of nature, where survival is intertwined with intelligence, aggression, and a hint of what we might call prehistoric psychopathy. These predators remind us that millions of years ago, the natural world was not kind. It was raw, ruthless, and unflinchingly violent. And yet, in that violence, it achieved a terrifying perfection, sculpted by evolution into one of the most effective killers to ever walk the planet. When you close your eyes and picture the Jurassic world, imagine standing there, the sun blazing down, the ground vibrating with approaching footsteps, and suddenly seeing the sleek, terrifying shadow of Allosaurus. It isn't just a dinosaur. It's a living embodiment of prehistoric fear, power, and relentless cunning. And that, my friends, is why it earned the title, The Butcher of the Jurassic. Chapter 3. Troodon, the Cruel Genius. Close your eyes for a second and imagine walking through a dense forest at night 75 million years ago in the late Cretaceous. The moonlight barely pierces the thick canopy, the air heavy with the scent of damp earth and plants. Somewhere nearby, a river murmurs quietly. All seems calm, almost peaceful. But then, pause. Did you hear that? A soft rustle in the underbrush, deliberate, precise, almost calculated. You freeze. There's an intelligence behind it, something watching, waiting. Something with eyes that gleam like polished amber in the shadows. That something is Troodon. At first glance, it seems almost unassuming, about the size of a large dog, weighing roughly 50-70 kilograms, with long, slender legs and a sleek, feathered body. But size doesn't matter here. What sets Troodon apart isn't power, it's brains. This dinosaur had one of the largest brain-to-body ratios of any non-avian dinosaur. Its large eyes suggest superb night vision, and its senses, keen hearing, depth perception, and intelligence, made it one of the most cunning hunters of its time. Now, intelligence in a predator can be terrifying. Imagine a creature capable of evaluating the strength, speed, and behavior of its prey. Imagine it planning ambushes, analyzing escape routes, anticipating reactions. Troodon wasn't just fast, it was calculating, almost cruelly methodical. Fossil evidence hints at behavior patterns that may have involved stalking, ambushing, and even waiting for the perfect moment to strike, not just for food, but potentially for control and dominance. Picture this: a small herd of herbivorous dinosaurs grazing near a riverbank. Troodon observes from the shadows, crouched low, feathers blending perfectly with the undergrowth. Its brain is humming, analysing the herd's behaviour. Who's weak? Who's isolated? Who will panic first? It's patient. Minutes pass, maybe hours, and then strike. A flash of claw and teeth, precise, surgical, tearing flesh from bone. The victim barely struggles before collapse, the rest of the herd panicked, scattering chaotically. And here's the chilling part. Some paleontologists believe Troodon may have killed more than it ate, a behaviour reminiscent of modern predators that display overkill tendencies. Fossils show repeated bite marks on small prey, sometimes on animals that were likely too small to satisfy hunger. It's almost as if the dinosaur derived some instinctual satisfaction from control, from dominance, from asserting itself in a violent, deliberate manner. What's even more disturbing? Evidence suggests that Troodon may have been opportunistic toward its own kind. Bite marks matching Troodon teeth have been found on juvenile Troodon fossils. Cannibalism wasn't rampant, but the possibility of it exists, and when paired with a predator of such intelligence, the idea becomes haunting. Troodon's claws were sharp, curved, and deadly. Not massive like Deinonychus, but perfect for pinning prey, slicing, through muscle, or delivering a final, precise killing blow. Its jaws, lined with serrated teeth, were were perfect for gnawing on tender tissue, and its agility allowed it to chase, leap, and maneuver with terrifying grace. Imagine a predator with the cunning of a fox, the speed of a cheetah, and a knife-sharp claw for punctuation. That's Troodon in action. But Troodon's genius extended beyond hunting. Its nocturnal adaptations made it the ultimate night stalker. With eyes large relative to its skull, capable of seeing in dim light, it could outmaneuver prey that thought the night provided safety. Imagine trying to escape into darkness, only to be hunted by a creature designed to dominate that very environment. Every shadow, every rustle of leaves could be a death sentence, and the more we study Troodon, the more it seems it wasn't just about killing, it was about strategy, experimentation, and manipulation. Did it disable its prey first to control it before killing? Did it use tactics to separate young from adults, weak from strong? Fossils hint at behavior that goes beyond survival instincts into something that could almost be called cruelty. Intelligent, deliberate, and horrifyingly effective cruelty. But Troodon's intelligence wasn't just a weapon. It was a survival tool. Living in environments where larger predators roamed, it needed to outsmart rivals as well as prey. Pack behavior remains debated, but it's possible Troodon collaborated, coordinated, or at least understood threats and opportunities in a way few dinosaurs could. Its brain, large relative to its size, gave it cognitive advantages, making it one of the most formidable predators in the late Cretaceous. Imagine an ecosystem filled with terror, tyrannosaurs prowling large plains, raptors like Deinonychus patrolling forests, and Troodon stalking the night. In this world, survival wasn't just about strength or size, it was about cunning, calculation, and a willingness to exploit every weakness. Troodon thrived because it understood the game better than anyone else, and for its prey there was no safety, no moment of peace, just the ever-present shadow of a predator that could think, wait, and strike with deadly precision. Even the fossil record whispers hints of Troodon's brutality. Juvenile herbivores with bite marks, overlapping injuries, and partially eaten carcasses suggest that Troodon's hunting wasn't always clean. It was messy, it was violent, and sometimes it was excessive, as if the predator derived instinctual satisfaction beyond mere hunger. Overkill, strategic terror, opportunistic aggression. It's a pattern repeated across species, hinting at a mind that could plan, calculate, and dominate. In modern terms, think of a fox, a cat, and a wolf rolled into one but amplified by claws, teeth, and prehistoric ferocity. Imagine the terror of a small prey animal, vulnerable, hunted, and aware of its impending doom, and then imagine the predator, waiting for the right moment to strike, watching, calculating, striking, and repeating. That's Troodon, intelligent, cruel, and remarkably efficient. And yet, there's a haunting beauty to its methods. The way Troodon hunted, observed, and struck shows the raw poetry of evolution. Nature didn't create mindless killers, it created thinking, calculating predators capable of reshaping entire ecosystems. Troodon is a testament to that brutal brilliance, reminding us that intelligence and cruelty can, in the natural world, go hand in hand. By studying Troodon, we glimpse the dark heart of predator evolution, a world where cunning could be as lethal as size, where patience could be as deadly as speed, and where intelligence could elevate a small, seemingly unassuming dinosaur into one of the most terrifying hunters of its time. When you picture Troodon, don't think of a small, timid creature. Think of a shadow in the moonlight, moving silently, calculating your every move, biding its time, waiting to strike. That's the cruel genius of the late Cretaceous, a predator that defined terror not by brute force alone, but by intellect, precision, and cold-blooded strategy. Chapter 4. Majungasaurus, the Cannibal King Picture. The sun blazing over the cracked red earth of late Cretaceous Madagascar around 70 million years ago. The heat hangs heavy in the air, dust swirls around sparse vegetation. In the distance, the silhouettes of herbivorous dinosaurs, sauropods, hadrosaurs, and abelisaur relatives move cautiously across the barren plains, seeking water. At first glance, it seems serene, almost calm. But in this harsh, unforgiving land, peace is an illusion. because here stalks one of the deadliest predators to ever walk the earth, Majungasaurus, the cannibal king. Unlike Deinonychus or Allosaurus, this predator combined brute force, crushing jaws, and a psychological edge that made it not just lethal, but terrifyingly ruthless. Its skull is short but massively reinforced, like a battering ram built by evolution itself, and its teeth are designed to crush bone as easily as tearing flesh. A single bite could shatter vertebrae, rip through ribs, or strip flesh clean off the bone. Majungasaurus wasn't the fastest dinosaur, but it didn't need to be. It relied on power, patience, and intelligence. Fossil evidence shows injuries on both prey and fellow Majungasaurus, bites, gouges, punctures, indicative of not just hunting, but intraspecies aggression and cannibalism. Imagine being hunted, not just by a predator, but by its own kind. One Majungasaurus would attack a rival or weak juvenile, leaving clear marks of dominance, even before feeding. This is predatory behavior pushed to an extreme, killing as control, not mere survival. Let's walk through a scene. A small herd of herbivores grazes near a dry riverbed. The ground trembles faintly, not enough to alarm the prey yet. A lone Majungasaurus watches from the distance. It's amber. Eyes lock onto a sickly juvenile, separated from the group. Slowly, deliberately, it approaches. Every step is measured, silent, predatory. Suddenly, a burst of speed. The strike. Teeth sink into the prey's body. Claws grip, muscles tense. Blood flows into the dust. The herd panics, scattering in terror while the predator works methodically, ensuring the kill is complete. And here's the shocking part. Some fossils suggest Majungasaurus sometimes killed more than necessary. Bite marks on herbivore bones indicate repeated attacks, overkill behavior. The predator might not even have eaten the entire carcass. This wasn't just hunger. This was dominance, strategy, and potentially cruelty. Some paleontologists speculate that attacks on conspecifics, other Majungasaurus, may have been territorial, ritualistic, or opportunistic cannibalism. In short, it may have killed for control, practice, or survival, but sometimes with a level of violence that bordered on sociopathy. Majungasaurus's anatomy reinforces this deadly efficiency. Its skull could absorb repeated strikes without injury. Its short but muscular arms, tipped with sharp claws, could pin prey or rivals while its jaws did the work. And its legs, strong, sturdy, capable of bursts of speed to chase prey or assert dominance in skirmishes. It was built for war, not subtlety. Now, consider the ecosystem it dominated. Madagascar's landscape was harsh and sparse. Prey was limited. Survival required cunning, aggression, and adaptability. Majungasaurus wasn't just a predator, it was a strategist, exploiting every opportunity. If a rival encroached on its territory, it attacked without hesitation. If prey wandered too close, it struck with precision and power. And if no other food was available, it may have scavenged, or, horrifyingly, turned on its own kind. Visualize another hunt. A herd of sauropods slowly moves through the dust-swept plains. A juvenile strays near a rocky outcrop. Majungasaurus watches. Its skull tilts, assessing, planning. Then, in a heartbeat, it lunges. The prey struggles, kicking and thrashing, but the predator grips, clamps its jaws, and delivers fatal bites to ribs and vertebrae. Other members of the herd panic, trampling vegetation, creating chaos. Majungasaurus doesn't panic. It thrives in chaos. It controls the scene like a conductor orchestrating carnage. Fossils reveal bite marks on Majungasaurus themselves, showing that even fights with conspecifics or other predators were brutal and bloody, yet they survived and adapted. This predator wasn't deterred by risk. It learned, perfected its hunting and fighting strategies, and became increasingly formidable over time. Its combination of strength, intelligence, and ruthlessness made it the undisputed apex predator of its island ecosystem. Even its cannibalistic tendencies reflect evolutionary brilliance. In a world where food scarcity was real, the ability to feed opportunistically, even on its own species, was survival at its most pragmatic. But it also paints a chilling picture, a predator capable of violence beyond hunger, killing to assert dominance, instill fear, and survive the harshest conditions. Majungasaurus was a master of terror. Consider the psychological edge. Prey animals likely recognized it as a constant threat. Herbivores would graze cautiously, avoid open areas, and flee at the first sign of movement. Fear itself became a weapon wielded by Majungasaurus. Its presence shaped entire ecosystems, controlling populations, influencing herd behavior, and ensuring that it ruled through intimidation as much as through physical might. And the blood-soaked evidence remains. Sites like the Mahajanga Basin show overlapping bite marks, repeated attacks on single individuals, and partially devoured carcasses. The message is clear. Majungasaurus hunted relentlessly, killed ruthlessly, and dominated unchallenged. No creature, herbivore or rival, was safe, and in the minds of early dinosaurs there may have been few horrors greater than facing the cannibal king. Even in death, Majungasaurus tells its story. Fossils of partially eaten juveniles, punctured bones, and bite-marked skulls all speak to a life filled with predation, dominant struggles, and survival at any cost. Its reign wasn't glamorous, it was brutal, bloody, and unflinching. Yet in that brutality lies the dark beauty of evolution, a predator honed to perfection by intelligence, strategy, and sheer ruthless force. When you picture Majungasaurus, don't think of a slow, lumbering dinosaur. Imagine a shadow on the red plains moving deliberately, calculating every step, striking with surgical precision, and leaving behind terror, blood, and bones. That's the cannibal king. That's the apex predator that ruled Madagascar with intelligence, strength, and cruelty unparalleled in its ecosystem. Majungasaurus wasn't just a hunter. It was a lesson in fear, a master of survival, and a prehistoric predator that combined intelligence, brutality, and strategy to perfection. Every fossil, every bite mark, and every scar tells the story of a creature that terrorized its world and carved its name into the annals of predatory history. Chapter 5. Dilophosaurus, the original assassin. The dawn of the early Jurassic, roughly 193 million years ago, paints a breathtaking yet treacherous landscape. Mist coils around jagged cliffs and fern-covered valleys, rivers snake silently through the undergrowth, and the air carries the faint, earthy smell of damp soil and blooming plants. It's the sort of morning that lulls unsuspecting creatures into a false sense of peace. But in this primordial forest, calm is merely a prelude to chaos. From the shadows a predator watches, sleek, lithe, and lethal. It moves with almost supernatural patience. This is Dilophosaurus, often underestimated by size, but one of the deadliest hunters of its age. About 20 feet long, with long, slender legs built for bursts of speed, a lightweight but muscular frame, and a pair of jagged crests rising from its skull, Dilophosaurus is built for precision, agility, and cunning, nature's ultimate assassin. Its crests, mysterious and ceremonial, may have played multiple roles, intimidating rivals, dazzling potential mates, or signalling dominance, but in the heat of the hunt, those crests are less about beauty and more about psychological warfare. Imagine a rival predator approaching. The crests flash in the early sunlight, the head bobs. Every slight movement communicates, I am superior, I am dangerous. If the challenger hesitates, it may flee. If not, it becomes prey. Dilophosaurus's true terror, however, lies not in its display but in its hunting methodology. Unlike the brute force predators that rely on sheer strength, Dilophosaurus was a master of calculated attacks. Its jaws were lined with serrated teeth, perfect for slicing flesh, gripping struggling prey, and delivering lethal punctures. Its long, flexible neck allowed sudden lunges from hidden positions, and its forearms, short but sharp-clawed, could pin prey as jaws did the work. It is a predator designed for surgical efficiency, the original assassin of the Jurassic forests. Picture the scene. A herd of prosauropods grazes by a river, the first light glinting off their scales. They are calm, unaware that the forest is alive with danger. Dilophosaurus crouches low, blending perfectly with the ferns. It watches. Minutes, perhaps hours, pass. It evaluates. Who's isolated? Who is weak? Who panics first? The predator is patient, silent, calculating. Then, in a heartbeat, it strikes. A blur of motion, jaws snapping, claws raking. The targeted prosauropod panics, screams echoing through the valley. Other herbivores scatter in chaos, trampling ferns, kicking up dust. Dilophosaurus doesn't panic. It thrives in this chaos. Every movement is deliberate. Each bite is precise. Its prey doesn't just die. It suffers, immobilized by fear, strength, and relentless predatory intelligence. But this assassin's genius goes beyond individual hunts. Fossils suggest Dilophosaurus may have coordinated ambushes, working in loose packs or pairs to isolate and control prey. Imagine two predators moving silently through opposite sides of a clearing, circling, cutting off escape routes, waiting for the perfect moment to strike simultaneously. In essence, Dilophosaurus may have been an evolutionary tactician, a hunter that didn't just rely on speed or strength, but strategy, observation, and opportunistic cruelty. Its intelligence is evident in its adaptations for night hunting. Large eyes, keen depth perception, and acute hearing suggest it could operate effectively in dim light or dense forests. Prey that assumed safety in shadows or darkness may have been doomed without ever seeing the predator coming. It's a world where light and shadow are weapons, and Dilophosaurus is a master of both. Fossilized bite marks indicate sometimes its attacks went beyond necessity. Bones of prey show multiple overlapping bites, evidence of repeated strikes, overkill behavior. This wasn't always hunger. Sometimes it may have been practice, dominance, or even opportunistic aggression toward rival predators or weaker members of its own species. Cannibalism isn't confirmed but remains a chilling possibility. Its anatomy reflects the predator's deadly efficiency. Long legs provide bursts of speed, allowing ambush and chase. The lightweight but muscular frame offers agility to twist, leap, and maneuver mid-strike. Forearms grip and control, jaws slice and tear, and its crests project dominance. It's a perfect predator for forests filled with agile prey. Now, imagine the aftermath of a successful hunt. The riverbank is littered with dust, blood, and broken vegetation. A prosauropod lies mortally wounded. Dilophosaurus circles, evaluating. It may feed immediately or retreat, leaving the kill partially consumed, asserting dominance over territory or rival predators. Its hunting isn't just survival. It's psychological control over the ecosystem, shaping prey behavior and territory alike. Dilophosaurus wasn't the largest predator of its time, but in terms of cunning, speed, and precision, it was unmatched. Its combination of intelligence, surgical strikes, stealth, and opportunistic aggression makes it the original assassin of the Jurassic, a predator that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast any rival. Imagine standing in that misty early Jurassic forest, witnessing this predator in action. The sun filters through leaves, casting shadows. You see a subtle rustle, movement in the ferns. Suddenly, a flash of claws, a strike of teeth, the victim collapses. The forest is silent again, but the predator isn't done. It waits, it watches, it calculates. That's the genius of Dilophosaurus. Every hunt is precise, every attack deliberate, and every movement a lesson in calculated terror. In many ways, Dilophosaurus foreshadows the raptors of the late Cretaceous, intelligent, coordinated, lethal, and terrifyingly efficient. It was evolution's original assassin, a predator that combined strategy, speed, and psychological dominance into a single, deadly package. Its legacy is clear. It didn't just survive, it mastered survival, instilled fear, and perfected the art of predation. So next time you imagine the Jurassic forests, picture the shadow in the mist, the stealthy, patient, calculating predator that made dawns dangerous and prey terrified. That shadow is Dilophosaurus, the original assassin, a hunter whose cunning and cruelty were as deadly as its teeth and claws. Chapter 6. Utahraptor. Murder in packs. Imagine the rugged plains and forests of early Cretaceous North America, roughly 125 million years ago. Towering cliffs cut jagged silhouettes against a pale pink dawn. Mist snakes through. Valleys and riverbeds curling around ferns and cycads like ghostly fingers. The air carries the scents of wet earth, vegetation, and the subtle musk of herbivores grazing cautiously nearby. It's a world of beauty, yet beneath the calm lies a predator that makes survival a nightmare, Utahraptor. Utahraptor was a massive apex predator, standing over 6 feet tall at the hip, stretching more than 23 feet long, and weighing close to a ton. It was far more than a raptor in size. It was a hunting machine built for terror and precision. Its sickle-shaped claws, over a foot long, were not mere tools. They were surgical instruments of death. Each claw could pierce hide, slice tendons, and immobilize prey almost instantly. One strike from a Utahraptor could seal the fate of even the largest prey in seconds. But what truly set Utahraptor apart was its intelligence and social strategy. Fossil evidence and biomechanical analysis suggest these raptors may have hunted in packs, employing coordinated strategies that could outmaneuver even the most vigilant herbivores. Picture this: a herd of iguanodonts or sauropods grazing unknowingly, while a silent, calculating predator observes from a ridge. Another raptor positions itself across a valley. Others fan out, cutting off escape routes. This is not chaos. This is organized carnage, a prehistoric ambush perfected over millions of years. The hunt begins subtly. A juvenile strays from the herd. It hesitates, sensing danger, but the predators are already calculating its every move. The largest Utahraptor signals with a low hiss, a barely audible call that guides its pack. With synchronized precision, the raptors advance, exploiting the terrain. Dense ferns for cover, rocks for vantage points, riverbeds to channel prey into traps. In seconds, the predator moves like a shadow, silent but deadly, preparing to strike. Then, explosive action. The raptors spring from cover with lightning speed, claws slash, teeth puncture. The prey screams and thrashes in a desperate, futile attempt to escape. Other herbivores stampede, creating chaos and dust clouds, which the raptors expertly use to their advantage. One Utahraptor leaps onto the flailing victim, sinking its sickle claw deep into muscle and bone. Another raptor bites, pulling with precision, while the first maintains control. The prey collapses, immobilized and mortally wounded. The pack doesn't panic. They thrive in this orchestrated chaos. Every movement is deliberate. Every strike is calculated. Every kill is methodical. What's terrifying is how Utahraptor combined brute force with cunning. Unlike smaller raptors that relied heavily on speed and coordination, Utahraptor's massive size gave it the power to take down prey many times its weight, yet it retained the agility and intelligence for tactical hunting. Its claws and jaws weren't just for killing, they were tools of dominance, capable of ensuring prey could not flee, fight back, or survive the attack. But Utahraptor's threat extended beyond prey. Fossilized bones suggest intraspecies aggression and possible cannibalism, with bite marks and healed wounds indicating fights over territory, dominance, or resources. These were predators capable of violence not only toward other species but also toward each other, revealing a psychological ruthlessness rarely seen in the natural world. The pack dynamics may have required hierarchy, cooperation, and role specialization. Scouts, flankers, and strike leaders, each contributing to the deadly precision of the hunt. Imagine a particularly brutal hunt. A herd of iguanodonts approaches a river to drink. The largest Utahraptor positions itself on a rocky ridge, eyes fixed on a juvenile straggler. Others fan out, unseen, as the morning mist thickens. The juvenile wanders too close to the predator on the ridge. In a heartbeat, the ambush begins. Dust rises as the herd panics. Raptors attack from multiple angles, claws slash and puncture. Teeth tear into muscle. The juvenile falls, and even as it writhes in pain, the raptors adjust, ensuring the kill is efficient. The pack then retreats, leaving chaos behind, a terrifying display of strategy, intelligence, and ruthless efficiency. The psychological impact on prey cannot be overstated. Utahraptor packs likely instilled fear as a survival weapon. Herbivores would avoid certain areas, stick in tighter groups, or alter grazing patterns, all behaviors dictated by the presence of predators that could outthink, outmaneuver, and overpower them. Fear itself became an invisible weapon wielded by the pack, shaping entire ecosystems. Survival was not just about speed, it was about avoiding detection, anticipating ambushes, and hoping the raptors made a mistake. Utahraptor also thrived in exploiting environmental advantages. River crossings, rocky outcrops, and dense vegetation all became hunting tools. Packs could funnel prey into traps, isolate weaker members, and strike with precision. The predator didn't just hunt. It controlled the landscape, using its intelligence to manipulate both terrain and prey behavior to deadly effect. Overkill behavior is particularly fascinating. Some fossil sites show repeated strikes on the same prey, even when the animal was already mortally wounded. This suggests Utah raptors sometimes killed for dominance, practice, or sheer opportunistic aggression rather than necessity. It's a chilling glimpse into the mind, or rather, the instinct, of a predator that combined intelligence, strength, and ruthlessness in perfect harmony. Even the social dynamics of Utah raptor packs hint at sophistication. Evidence of healed injuries indicates individuals survived attacks and lived to fight or hunt again, suggesting learning and adaptation. These were predators capable of refining strategies over time, improving pack coordination, and potentially teaching each other through instinctual behaviors. The pack wasn't just a hunting group, it was a tactical unit, evolving with each hunt. Consider the cinematic imagery. Dawn breaks, red dust swirls, sunlight pierces the mist, shadows dart among ferns, the pack coordinates silently, stalking their prey, claws slash, teeth bite, blood soaks the soil, chaos ensues, the raptors strike and retreat with precision. By the time the dust settles, the herd is shattered, survivors flee, and the pack moves on, a ghostly, terrifying force of nature leaving only fear and carnage in its wake. Utah raptor was more than a predator. It was a master strategist, a cooperative hunter, a terrifyingly intelligent force that exploited both physical strength and psychological warfare. Its combination of size, speed, coordination, intelligence, and deadly weaponry made it arguably the most formidable pack predator of its era. In the prehistoric world, where every day was a battle for survival, Utah raptor reigned supreme, teaching both prey and rival predators that underestimating it could be fatal. So when you imagine the early Cretaceous plains, think of the shadow moving in the mist, the silent stalker coordinating with its pack, the sickle claws glinting, the teeth ready to strike. This is Utah raptor, the ultimate pack assassin, a predator whose intelligence, ruthlessness, and collaborative carnage shaped entire ecosystems, leaving a legacy of fear and respect that echoes through time. Chapter 7. Spinosaurus, the River Terror. The sun rises over the mid-Cretaceous rivers of North Africa, around 95 million years ago, casting molten gold over an endless stretch of wetlands, reed-filled riverbanks, and marshy floodplains. Mist clings to the vegetation, rolling over the surface like smoke, curling around the trunks of towering conifers and ancient cycads. It's a scene of serene beauty, yet lurking beneath the calm waters and tangled reeds is one of the most terrifying predators ever to roam the earth, Spinosaurus, the River Terror. Unlike most theropods, Spinosaurus was adapted for life both on land and in water, a semi-aquatic giant built for ambush, stealth, and lethal precision. Stretching over 50 feet long, with a crocodile-like snout bristling with conical teeth and a sail-like fin rising from its back, this dinosaur was evolution's perfect river hunter. Its skull was long, narrow, and reinforced, a deadly trap for any fish, croc-like prey, or terrestrial dinosaur foolish enough to come near the water. Each tooth could pierce slippery scales, puncture muscle, or snap bone, while its jaws delivered crushing power designed to hold on until prey succumbed. The semi-aquatic adaptations of Spinosaurus were nothing short of genius. Its elongated, narrow snout allowed it to snatch fish with minimal resistance, while its conical teeth prevented prey from slipping away. Its dense bones countered buoyancy, keeping it stable in water, while large paddle-like feet acted like rudders. Its tail, possibly shaped like a fin, allowed agile whip-like propulsion through river currents, enabling it to strike with speed, precision, and surprising flexibility for such a massive predator. Imagine it gliding silently below the water's surface, eyes peering just above, tail slicing through the current, ready to strike at the slightest disturbance. For prey, the river was a deadly stage, and Spinosaurus was the hidden director of carnage. But rivers were not its only hunting grounds. On land, Spinosaurus had long, muscular arms tipped with sharp claws, capable of tearing flesh, gripping struggling prey, and fending off rivals. Its sail, towering and jagged, could serve multiple purposes, intimidating rivals, attracting mates, or signaling dominance across the water's edge. Every adaptation reinforced a predator capable of dominating multiple realms simultaneously. Picture a scene along the riverbank. A herd of iguanodonts cautiously approaches the water, nostrils flaring, eyes darting. The surface is deceptively still. Ripples barely betray the presence of Spinosaurus beneath the water. Its eyes lock on the smallest, most vulnerable juvenile. Patience is its weapon. Minutes stretch into hours as it calculates the perfect strike, exploiting shadows, currents, and the slightest disturbance to maximize efficiency. Every movement is deliberate, silent, and predatory. Then, explosive action. A sudden lunge, a jaw snapping around the juvenile's torso, teeth sinking deep. The herd panics, creating chaos, stampeding over marshes and reeds. Other Spinosaurus may remain hidden, ready to exploit escape attempts or intervene if the prey tries to flee. This is precision hunting at a terrifying scale, a predator orchestrating death with evolutionary perfection. Spinosaurus was not merely a solitary hunter. Fossils suggest it may have patrolled territories and possibly interacted with others of its species, engaging in aggressive encounters or opportunistic confrontations over resources. Bite marks on fossil bones show injuries likely inflicted by rival Spinosaurus, indicating violent competition for hunting grounds or mates. Unlike other apex predators that relied solely on brute strength, Spinosaurus combined intelligence, power, and adaptability to dominate rivers, floodplains, and even rival predators. Its hunting strategy in rivers was highly specialized. Fish were its primary prey, including giant coelacanths and massive lungfish. Its conical teeth prevented slippery prey from escaping, and its long snout allowed for precise strikes. Some paleontologists suggest Spinosaurus may have hunted like a modern heron or crocodile, wading slowly in shallow water, striking at fish with lightning speed. But unlike modern predators, it could also handle prey larger than itself, including juvenile dinosaurs, by combining strength and bite force with stealth and ambush. The riverbank itself became a theatre of terror. A crocodile-like carcass lies half-submerged, torn apart by Spinosaurus. Precision strikes. Fish scatter, sensing danger. Herbivores hesitate at the water's edge, instinctively aware that approaching means risking death. Spinosaurus didn't just hunt. It controlled the ecosystem, shaping behavior, limiting access to water, and asserting dominance without needing to attack continuously. Its mere presence instilled fear, a psychological weapon as deadly as its jaws. Consider the biomechanics. The tail of Spinosaurus was long and laterally flattened, acting like a high-speed rudder in water. Its legs, though shorter relative to other theropods, were powerful enough to provide stability while wading or running on muddy banks. This predator was equally deadly in multiple environments, blending aquatic ambush with opportunistic attacks on land. Nothing in its world could rival its combination of speed, stealth, and raw power. Let's examine a full hunting scenario. At dawn, the sun cuts through the mist. A juvenile sauropod approaches a river to drink, unaware of the danger beneath. Spinosaurus waits just below the surface, tail coiled, body hidden by reeds. The juvenile steps into the water. A flash of movement. Tail propels, jaws snap, claws rake. The victim thrashes, creating panic in the herd. Dust, mud, and water spray everywhere as chaos erupts. Spinosaurus grips, twists, and delivers fatal strikes. Within minutes, the hunt is over. The riverbank, once serene, is now a vivid testament to the predator's lethal precision. Beyond hunting, Spinosaurus's dominance extended to territorial control. Fossil distribution indicates it occupied large river systems, potentially patrolling hundreds of miles of waterways. Any rival predator venturing into its territory risked confrontation. Aggressive encounters, often violent, were part of life along these rivers. Spinosaurus used intimidation, size, and sail display to avoid unnecessary conflict, striking only when challenged or when prey presented itself. Its reputation as river terror was enough to shape ecosystems without constant violence. Its psychological impact on other species is profound. Fish, croc-like reptiles, and smaller dinosaurs all learned to avoid river edges where Spinosaurus prowled. Herds adjusted their drinking and feeding patterns, avoiding areas of high predation. Even rival predators, like Carcharodontosaurus, may have avoided waterways dominated by Spinosaurus, leaving rivers and floodplains almost exclusively to the semi-aquatic predator. It wasn't just killing, it was ecosystem engineering through fear and dominance. Spinosaurus's behavior also included opportunistic scavenging. Its size and power allowed it to steal kills from other predators or feed on partially dead carcasses. Yet even scavenging was strategic. It could assert dominance over competitors, leaving them no choice but to flee or fight, and most chose to flee. The predator's ability to combine hunting, ambush, intimidation, and scavenging reflects a level of versatility rare in theropods, making it a master of survival in multiple environments. Even its sail had a dual purpose. In addition to intimidation and display, it may have assisted in thermoregulation, absorbing or radiating heat depending on environmental conditions. For a predator spending long hours in sun-drenched rivers or stalking prey along marshy banks, regulating body temperature was critical. Evolution shaped Spinosaurus into a predator whose every anatomical feature contributed to its survival and efficiency. Now imagine a massive flood after heavy rain. Water levels rise, fish migrate, prey moves to new feeding grounds. Spinosaurus adapts effortlessly, navigating flooded terrain, ambushing fish driven by currents, or preying on stranded terrestrial animals. Every day presented opportunities for kills, and this predator capitalized on everyone. Its combination of patience, intelligence, physical prowess, and ambush strategy made it virtually unstoppable in its domain. In the climax of one particularly cinematic encounter, a herd of herbivorous dinosaurs approaches a river at sunrise. Mist clings to the reeds. A ripple in the water signals danger. Spinosaurus strikes with lightning precision. Jaws snap around a juvenile iguanodont. The herd panics, chaos erupts. Dust, mud, and blood swirl as the predator delivers lethal bites. Within moments, the riverbank is a scene of orchestrated carnage. The predator retreats into the water, leaving only devastation behind. This is Spinosaurus at the height of its terror, a master predator shaping the behavior of every animal in its realm. Spinosaurus wasn't just a hunter. It was an apex predator that terrorized rivers, floodplains, and prey alike. A creature whose adaptations in anatomy, behavior, and strategy allowed it to dominate a niche no other predator could. Its reign as the river terror was absolute, a combination of stealth, intelligence, power, and psychological dominance unmatched in the prehistoric world. When you picture Spinosaurus, don't imagine a slow, clumsy giant. Picture a silent, stalking shadow in the water, a predator that strikes with precision, terrorizes its prey psychologically, and rules its watery kingdom with unmatched efficiency. The sun glints off its sail as it rises from the river, a living monument to predatory brilliance and fear. That is Spinosaurus, the river terror, the semi-aquatic apex predator, unstoppable and unforgettable. Chapter 8. Carnotaurus, the savage horned hunter. The sun beats down mercilessly over the arid plains of late Cretaceous South America around 70 million years ago. Dust swirls in the air as hardy ferns and low shrubs cling to parched soil. The wind carries a faint scent of earth, sweat from massive herbivores, and the underlying tension of survival. In this unforgiving landscape roams one of the most terrifying predators to ever stalk the earth, Carnotaurus, the horned hunter of Patagonia. Carnotaurus was a predator unlike any other, a unique theropod that combined speed, power, and uncanny specialization. Measuring up to 30 feet in length, with muscular hind limbs built for bursts of extraordinary speed, it could chase down prey across the open plains with astonishing agility. Its most iconic features were the short, thick horns above its eyes, likely used for display, intimidation, or even combat, and a skull optimized for powerful, rapid strikes. This wasn't just a predator, it was a finely tuned killing machine, evolved for sheer efficiency. The landscape shaped its hunting strategy. Wide open plains meant prey could see danger coming, but Carnotaurus's slender aerodynamic body allowed it to close distances with lethal speed. Its forelimbs were small and almost useless for grasping prey, but this was no disadvantage. Its jaws and skull delivered precision strikes, with serrated teeth capable of slicing through muscle and tendon with terrifying ease. Unlike massive brute predators, Carnotaurus relied on speed, cunning, and precise strikes to take down herbivores that could weigh several tons. Imagine a herd of hadrosaurs grazing cautiously under the harsh sun. A lone juvenile strays too far, distracted by the sparse vegetation. In the distance, a shadow flickers. Carnotaurus crouches low, blending with the dusty landscape. Its horns catch the sunlight briefly, a warning signal to rivals, or perhaps a tool for psychological intimidation. Muscles coil like springs. With a sudden burst, it sprints forward, astonishing speed carried by legs built like pistons. The herd panics. Dust erupts into the sky. Carnotaurus strikes with precision, timing, and ruthless intent. One bite, a series of calculated nips, and the juvenile falls, the first casualty in a deadly display of evolutionary perfection. Its horns were not just for show. Some paleontologists suggest they could have been used in combat against rivals, shoving, headbutting, or displaying dominance. Carnotaurus may have engaged in ritualized aggression, intimidating competitors or establishing territory without constant bloody battles. But when provoked, or hungry, it transformed into a vicious, unrelenting hunter, capable of tearing through flesh with rapid, bone-crunching bites. The predator's hunting techniques were diverse. Carnotaurus may have stalked, ambushed, or chased prey over short distances, exploiting the open plains and its exceptional eyesight. Its long legs allowed sudden bursts of speed unmatched by other predators in its region, while its lightweight skull minimized resistance during high-speed strikes. Fossil evidence hints at adaptations for rapid jaw closure, meaning prey often had no time to react. For a hadrosaur, ceratopsian, or even smaller sauropod wandering too close, the result was almost always fatal. Even the smallest details contributed to its deadly efficiency. Carnotaurus had skin impressions showing tiny scales, likely providing camouflage across dusty plains. Its head shape minimized wind resistance during high-speed sprints. Its powerful tail acted as a counterbalance, allowing sharp turns and rapid directional changes. Every feature, from horns to tail, from legs to jaws, evolved to maximize hunting efficiency and survival in an unforgiving ecosystem. Carnotaurus also exhibited fascinating behavioral traits. Fossilized remains show healed injuries, suggesting individuals survived confrontations, either with rivals, prey, or environmental hazards. This indicates learning from experience, adaptive behavior, and possible social interactions. Some researchers speculate that Carnotaurus may have been territorial, using speed and intimidation to patrol hunting grounds, minimize competition, and ensure access to vital resources. The plains weren't just a hunting ground, they were a battlefield, and Carnotaurus ruled with a combination of fear, speed, and precision. Imagine a dramatic hunt under the blazing sun. A herd of herbivores grazes near a rocky outcrop. Carnotaurus emerges from a subtle rise in the terrain, almost invisible to the prey. It crouches, muscles coiled. Then, suddenly, it explodes forward, legs propelling it like pistons. Dust flies. Herbivores stampede. The predator closes in. Its bite lands on a juvenile hadrosaur, ripping through muscle and tendon. Panic spreads, but the predator moves with uncanny precision, exploiting gaps and weaknesses in the herd. Within moments, chaos reigns, and Carnotaurus asserts its dominance once again. The psychological impact of this predator was immense. Herds of herbivores learned to alter grazing patterns, avoid certain plains, and remain vigilant near rocky outcrops. Even without striking, Carnotaurus could shape the behavior of its ecosystem, controlling access to water, vegetation, and territory. Its presence was a silent, ever-present threat, teaching prey that survival demanded vigilance, speed, and sometimes sheer luck. Carnotaurus also faced competitors, but its specialization gave it an advantage. Large herbivores often defended themselves with horns, size, or group behavior, but Carnotaurus's speed and precision struck before defenses could be employed. Larger predators might be slower or less agile, but Carnotaurus capitalized on ambushes and rapid bursts, often seizing young, sick, or isolated prey. Fossils of hadrosaur bite marks show multiple attacks consistent with high-speed predation, emphasizing efficiency over brute force. Beyond hunting, Carnotaurus's unique physiology made it capable of surviving harsh environments. Sparse vegetation, extreme heat, and competition for water all demanded adaptability. Its speed allowed escape from larger predators, Its camouflage reduced detection, and its intelligence ensured optimal strategies for hunting, survival, and territory control. It wasn't merely a predator, it was an ecosystem regulator, shaping the plains with every movement and every kill. Now imagine a cinematic scene at dusk. The sun bleeds across the horizon, casting long shadows over the parched plains. A juvenile ceratopsian strays too far from its herd. Carnotaurus watches silently from a rise. With a sudden burst, the predator explodes forward. Dust, wings of fleeing birds, and the roar of panicked prey fill the air. Claws rake, jaws snap, horns glint. Within moments, the hunt is over. The predator retreats, leaving devastation behind, a testament to evolutionary perfection. Carnotaurus was not just a predator of flesh. It was a predator of fear, strategy, and survival instinct. Its combination of speed, precision, intelligence, and brutal efficiency made it one of the most terrifying hunters of the late Cretaceous. Unlike slower brute force predators, it relied on coordinated movement, sharp strikes, and psychological dominance, ensuring that its reign over the plains was undisputed. Its legacy is clear in the fossil record. Bite marks, healed injuries, and skeletal adaptations all point to a predator that was both intelligent and relentless, a creature perfectly suited to its environment. For prey, encountering Carnotaurus meant a sudden, violent, and often inescapable confrontation. For rival predators, it represented competition, speed, and efficiency unmatched by any other theropod in its ecosystem. By combining hunting mastery, speed, intimidation, and precision, Carnotaurus ruled its world with deadly authority. Its horns were as much a symbol of dominance as a physical weapon. Its jaws delivered terror and efficiency, and its legs allowed bursts of speed that few could escape. The plains were its kingdom, and every animal, prey, competitor, or scavenger, had to respect the savage horned hunter. When you picture Carnotaurus, don't imagine a slow, lumbering predator. Imagine a streak of shadow across the dusty plains, a predator built for lightning-fast strikes, precision kills, and psychological terror, stalking the plains like a ghost, ready to unleash devastation with every burst of speed. That is Carnotaurus, the savage horned hunter, the nightmare of Patagonia, and a master of survival in one of Earth's harshest prehistoric landscapes. Chapter 9. Mapusaurus, the deadly apex of Patagonia. The sun sets over the jagged, wind-swept plains of late Cretaceous Patagonia around 97 million years ago. Dust curls into the air, catching the orange light like embers from a dying fire. Sparse shrubs and hardy ferns cling to the cracked earth, while distant rivers glint with the last light of day. Silence reigns, at least on the surface. Beneath that silence, however, lurks Mapusaurus, one of the most formidable predators to ever walk the earth. Mapusaurus was a giant carcharodontosaurid, a close relative of Giganotosaurus, and an apex predator of unparalleled strength. Measuring up to 40 feet long and weighing several tons, it combined raw power, deadly intelligence, and possible pack-hunting behavior. Its massive skull, lined with serrated razor-sharp teeth, could rip through flesh and bone with terrifying efficiency. But what truly set Mapusaurus apart was its social behavior. Fossil evidence from multiple individuals found together suggests that, like Utahraptor, it may have hunted in coordinated packs, amplifying its already terrifying capabilities. Imagine a herd of sauropods grazing near a river valley. Their massive legs crush the ground as they move, tails swinging, necks swaying as they feed. From the nearby ridges, shadows flicker. The sun glints off jagged teeth. Mapusaurus watches, muscles coiled like springs, every sense tuned to the faintest movement. These were predators capable of assessing, stalking, and coordinating attacks in ways rarely seen in the dinosaur kingdom. Pack hunting may have been the key to its dominance. Multiple Mapusaurus could collaborate to bring down prey much larger than themselves, titanosaurs, sometimes weighing tens of tons. Fossils suggest coordinated attacks with individual roles in the hunt, one or two flanking from the sides, another driving the prey toward ambush points, and the leader striking decisively at the exposed or weakened target. The result? A calculated, orchestrated massacre that left no room for escape. Its hunting strategy was brutally efficient, Speed, power, and intelligence combined to make Maposaurus nearly unstoppable. Unlike slower, more cumbersome predators, it could adapt its approach based on terrain and prey behavior. Fossilized injuries on prey animals indicate biting patterns, multiple strike points, and relentless pursuit, suggesting that Maposaurus wasn't just strong, it was methodical, patient, and strategic. Picture a cinematic hunt at dawn. The riverbank is shrouded in mist. A juvenile titanosaur strays from the herd, unaware of the predators lying in wait. Maposaurus packs slowly converge, using ridges and vegetation as cover. A low growl, barely audible, signals the attack. The strike is instantaneous. Massive jaws clamp onto the juvenile's flank, tearing through muscle and bone. The herd panics, dust and water flying into the air, but the pack works seamlessly, isolating and attacking the prey until it collapses. Within minutes, the hunt is over. But Maposaurus didn't only hunt for survival. Fossil evidence suggests competition, aggression, and possibly ritualized attacks played a role in its behavior. Healed bite marks on adult individuals indicate fights over territory or dominance. Social hierarchy may have existed, with leaders coordinating hunts and enforcing rules within the group. This wasn't just a predator. It was a predator with strategy, intelligence, and social complexity, making it one of the deadliest hunters of its time. Its physical adaptations were optimized for this deadly lifestyle. Powerful hind legs enabled bursts of speed across uneven terrain, while its massive tail provided balance during high-speed turns or attacks on large prey. Its forelimbs, though shorter than its legs, were robust and muscular, capable of stabilizing or grappling struggling prey. The serrated teeth, curved for maximum damage, ensured that once prey was bitten, it rarely escaped. The psychological impact on prey species was immense. Sauropods, herbivores, and smaller theropods all adjusted their behavior based on Maposaurus's presence. Herds avoided certain valleys, grazing patterns shifted, and water sources became contested spaces. Even without striking, Maposaurus influenced the landscape and behavior of countless species, asserting dominance through fear and threat alone. Maposaurus's power extended beyond the hunt. Fossil evidence indicates scavenging behavior, where the predator would seize kills from smaller competitors or feed opportunistically on carcasses. But this was opportunistic, strategic, not mere survival. By asserting dominance over kills and territory, Maposaurus maintained its apex status and ensured access to vital resources without unnecessary energy expenditure. Consider a dramatic cinematic scene at dusk. A herd of titanosaurs approaches a river. Mist rises from the water, reflecting the blood-red glow of the setting sun. Maposaurus lies in ambush along a ridge, partially hidden by ferns and rock outcrops. A juvenile strays too close. The pack converges, coiled muscles propelling them with terrifying speed. Jaws clamp down, claws rake, and chaos erupts. Dust, blood, and terrified roars fill the air. Within moments, the hunt is complete. The predator retreats, leaving only devastation in its wake, a chilling testament to its intelligence and efficiency. Maposaurus also had to navigate threats from rivals. Other large theropods, environmental hazards, and competition for prey all shaped its evolution. Yet its combination of size, speed, intelligence, and pack coordination gave it unparalleled advantage. Its ability to adapt to both open plains and forested valleys ensured dominance across vast territories. The predator ruled with precision, strategy, and raw power, a combination few competitors could match. Its social structure may have been crucial for survival. Coordinated hunting requires communication, visual cues, vocalizations, or subtle body language. Maposaurus may have relied on signals to coordinate attacks, maintain hierarchy, and optimize hunting efficiency. The complexity of such behavior suggests a level of intelligence that rivals some modern social predators, making it not only physically dominant but mentally formidable. Now imagine the final moments of a high-stakes hunt. The juvenile prey struggles, dust and blood staining the riverbank. Maposaurus coordinates with the pack, attacking from multiple angles. Jaws tear, claws rake, and within minutes the prey collapses. The herd flees, leaving the predator in silent, lethal control. The riverbank, once a place of tranquility, becomes a theatre of orchestrated carnage, a testament to the predator's mastery of both physical and psychological warfare. Maposaurus's dominance shaped the ecosystem itself. Herbivores adjusted grazing patterns, predators altered hunting strategies, and the presence of this apex predator influenced the evolution of multiple species. Its combination of strength, speed, intelligence, and social coordination made it more than just a hunter. It was a force of ecological engineering, ensuring balance through terror, precision, and strategic dominance. When you picture Maposaurus, don't imagine a mindless giant. Picture a shadow moving across Patagonian plains, a predator combining brute force, calculated intelligence, and possible social hunting strategies, striking with precision and reshaping the behavior of every species in its path. That is Maposaurus, the deadly apex of Patagonia, a prehistoric master of terror, strategy, and survival. Chapter 10. Colophysis, the fleet-footed predator. The sun rises over the arid late Triassic landscapes of what is now New Mexico, approximately 210 million years ago. Dust rises from cracked earth as hardy cycads, ferns, and conifer-like trees cling to the dry soil. The air hums with the distant cries of early reptiles, the rustle of primitive plants, and the subtle movements of creatures too small to see. In this fragile, competitive world roams a predator that epitomized speed, agility, and lethal coordination, Colophysis. At just 10 feet long and weighing less than 50 kilograms, Colophysis may seem diminutive compared to later theropods, but its lightweight, aerodynamic body made it a terror of its time. Its long, slender limbs, hollow bones, and flexible tail allowed it to accelerate rapidly, change direction instantly, and chase prey with remarkable efficiency. Its skull was narrow and lined with sharp, recurved teeth, perfect for gripping small reptiles, amphibians, and early mammals. But what truly set Colophysis apart was its hunting style: fast, intelligent, and often social. Evidence from fossil sites, including the famous Ghost Ranch deposits, suggests that Colophysis may have hunted in packs, or at least in loosely coordinated groups, allowing them to take down prey larger than themselves and increase survival in a world full of predators. Imagine dozens of these agile hunters weaving through the dense ferns, coordinating movements almost imperceptibly, eyes scanning for motion, tails providing balance like rudders. In an instant, a juvenile prosauropod strays too far from its herd, and the pack springs into action. Colophysis was a predator of precision and speed rather than brute force. Its lightweight skeleton allowed for incredible agility. Its strong hind limbs and elongated metatarsals acted like springs, propelling it over rocky terrain and through dense vegetation with ease. Unlike larger theropods, which relied on raw power, Colophysis relied on timing, coordination, and rapid strikes, targeting vulnerable points in prey anatomy to maximize efficiency. The predator's hunting method was both brutal and elegant. A pack would spread out to flush prey toward a central ambush, using high-speed chases, sharp turns, and sudden lunges to isolate weaker individuals. Juveniles or sick prey were prime targets, but Colophysis' adaptability allowed it to exploit opportunities wherever they arose. Fossil evidence shows small animals within its digestive tract, confirming opportunistic feeding on lizards, early mammals, and amphibians. Yet the true terror of Colophysis was not its size. It was its speed, intelligence, and ability to strike collectively. Imagine a cinematic hunting sequence. A group of Colophysis navigates a dense fern grove. Sunlight filters through the canopy, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow. A tiny prosauropod moves into a clearing, unaware of the predators. Suddenly the pack converges, synchronized with near-military precision. Agile bodies whip around, jaws snap, teeth grip flesh. Dust, leaves, and blood fly as the prey struggles. Within seconds, the hunt is over. Efficiency, intelligence, and teamwork combined to make Colophysis a deadly force despite its small size. Its ecological impact extended beyond hunting. Colophysis influenced the behavior of herbivores and smaller reptiles alike. Herds adjusted feeding patterns, avoiding areas with high predator density. Smaller creatures developed strategies to escape or hide. Even without direct predation, the mere presence of Colophysis reshaped ecosystems, demonstrating that dominance is not always measured by size but by agility, intelligence, and social coordination. Fossil evidence also hints at intriguing behaviours. Mass death assemblages suggest that Coelophysis may have lived in groups, possibly migrating or nesting together. Healed bite marks indicate interactions, either aggressive or playful, within species, suggesting complex social dynamics. For a predator, this meant not just survival, but efficiency, coordinated hunting, shared knowledge of territories, and mutual protection against larger predators. Its anatomical adaptations reinforced its predatory efficiency. Hollow bones reduced weight, enabling rapid acceleration. Strong jaw muscles allowed fast snapping bites, and a long flexible tail acted as a counterbalance, facilitating sharp turns and agile maneuvers during pursuit. Its vision, likely keen and forward-facing, allowed depth perception crucial for judging distances at high speed, perfect for ambush or chase in uneven terrain. Every detail reflected evolution's precision engineering for a small but deadly predator. Consider another cinematic scene. Dusk descends, and shadows lengthen across the cracked earth. A juvenile prosauropod wanders near a shallow stream. Coelophysis pack members hidden in ferns stalk silently. Dust swirls as they advance. With an explosion of motion, the pack springs, jaws snapping, tails balancing, and within moments, the prey is subdued. The herd panics, fleeing in confusion, leaving behind a scene of coordinated chaos, a ballet of speed, intelligence, and precision. Coelophysis' small size gave it versatility. It could exploit environments inaccessible to larger predators, chase prey into dense vegetation, or ambush in rocky terrain. Its speed and agility made escape from capture difficult. Combined with intelligence and possible social coordination, Coelophysis dominated its ecological niche, demonstrating that even small predators could have outsized influence on prehistoric ecosystems. Its behavior also suggests opportunism. While hunting in packs, it could scavenge or exploit weakened prey. Fossilized stomach contents indicated it ate insects, lizards, amphibians, and even smaller dinosaurs, demonstrating a generalist predatory strategy. This adaptability was key to survival in the harsh and competitive late Triassic world, where food scarcity, drought, and larger predators posed constant threats. Now imagine the psychological impact on prey species. Herds avoided areas patrolled by these fleet-footed hunters. Small reptiles developed evasive behaviors. Juvenile dinosaurs learned to stick close to adults. The mere presence of Coelophysis forced behavioral changes across multiple species, emphasizing that predation is not just about kills, but also about control, influence, and survival pressure. In the climax of a cinematic hunt, the pack corners a juvenile prosauropod near a waterhole. Sunlight glints off teeth and claws. The prey panics, dust and water spraying into the air. Coelophysis move with astonishing coordination, nipping, striking, and driving the juvenile toward an isolated corner. Jaws clamp, claws rake, and within seconds the hunt ends. The pack retreats, leaving chaos behind, a testament to speed, intelligence, and social predatory mastery. Coelophysis demonstrates that dominance isn't always measured in size. It shows that speed, intelligence, social coordination, and adaptability can make a predator just as terrifying, if not more so, than a larger, slower competitor. In the world of the late Triassic, survival demanded efficiency, strategy, and execution, and Coelophysis excelled at all three. When picturing Coelophysis, imagine a blur of shadows, jaws snapping, claws striking, and a coordinated pack hunting with ruthless precision, reshaping the behavior of every prey species around it. This was Coelophysis, the fleet-footed predator, a master of speed, coordination, and lethal intelligence stalking the Triassic plains with deadly perfection. Chapter 11. Giganotosaurus, the apex predator of Patagonia. The sun rises over the vast plains of late Cretaceous Patagonia approximately 98 million years ago. Dust swirls across the open landscape, clinging to sparse ferns and low shrubs. Towering titanosaurs graze cautiously in the distance, their massive legs shaking the ground as they move. Everything seems calm, but beneath this calm lies one of the most terrifying predators ever to roam Earth, Giganotosaurus. Measuring up to 43 feet in length and weighing nearly 8 tons, Giganotosaurus was a theropod of unmatched scale. larger than Tyrannosaurus in length and built for dominance. Its massive skull, lined with serrated teeth nearly a foot long, was optimized for slashing through flesh. Yet Giganotosaurus was more than just raw power. It combined speed, intelligence, and precise predatory strategy, making it the apex predator of its time. Its hunting grounds were the open Patagonian plains, where speed, strategy, and patience were essential. Unlike forest-dwelling predators that could rely on ambush, Giganotosaurus had to overcome the visibility of open terrain. Fossil evidence suggests that this predator may have targeted isolated, juvenile, or weakened titanosaurs, using coordinated attacks or ambush strategies to maximize efficiency. Its enormous jaws were capable of delivering massive slashing bites, tearing through muscle and sometimes breaking bones. Picture a cinematic scene. A herd of titanosaurs grazes near a riverbank. A juvenile strays from its protective guardians. From a distance, the massive silhouette of Giganotosaurus emerges. Muscles ripple beneath its skin as it stalks, slow and deliberate, eyes locked on the prey. Dust rises around its enormous feet. Then, with astonishing bursts of speed, it closes the distance. The herd panics. Titanosaurs trumpet, tails swing, dust and vegetation fly. Giganotosaurus strikes, jaws slashing. Precision, strength, and sheer terror combine in a single devastating strike. Giganotosaurus' physical adaptations were perfectly suited for hunting the largest prey. Its powerful legs enabled bursts of speed over short distances, while its long muscular tail provided balance during sharp turns. Its massive skull and serrated teeth were designed not for crushing bone like T-Rex, but for slicing through flesh with maximum efficiency, creating fatal injuries quickly. This predator didn't waste energy. It struck efficiently, methodically, and lethally. Fossil evidence suggests Giganotosaurus may have exhibited opportunistic social behavior, potentially hunting in loosely coordinated groups. While not true pack hunters like wolves, multiple individuals may have occasionally worked together to subdue massive titanosaurs, coordinating attacks to overwhelm prey that would be impossible for a single predator. The result? Efficient predation at the very top of the food chain. Beyond physical dominance, Giganotosaurus ruled through psychological intimidation. Even the largest titanosaurs adjusted their behavior, avoiding areas where the predator prowled. Smaller theropods and herbivores altered feeding and migration patterns in response to its presence. Giganotosaurus didn't just kill, it controlled the ecosystem through fear, presence, and relentless efficiency. Its hunting strategy was multifaceted. Isolated juveniles were prime targets, but adults were occasionally vulnerable due to illness, injury, or distraction. Giganotosaurus would stalk patiently, using terrain features like ridges, low hills, or vegetation for concealment. With each calculated step, it minimized risk and maximized the chance of a successful kill. Ambush and precision strikes ensured that energy expenditure matched predatory reward, a hallmark of apex efficiency. Imagine a dramatic cinematic chase. A juvenile titanosaur strays too far from the herd. Giganotosaurus bursts from cover, legs propelling it forward like pistons. Dust clouds rise, birds take flight. The juvenile charges back towards safety, but the predator is relentless, cutting off escape routes. Jaws snap, teeth bite, and the young titanosaur falls, leaving a scene of chaos and terror. The predator retreats into the plains, leaving behind a stark reminder of nature's brutality and evolutionary perfection. Giganotosaurus's dominance extended to competition with rivals. Carcharodontosaurids, abelisaurids, and smaller theropods all posed threats. Yet Giganotosaurus's size, strength, and hunting efficiency generally ensured apex status. Fossil injuries indicate occasional fights with conspecifics, likely over territory or food, but such encounters were rare. Evolution had crafted a predator so dominant that survival often required avoidance rather than confrontation. Its anatomy also reveals incredible evolutionary optimization. The long, narrow skull reduced weight without sacrificing bite force. Serrated teeth allowed slicing through thick hides, while muscular necks enabled rapid, powerful strikes. Its large nostrils suggest keen olfactory abilities, allowing detection of prey over long distances. Every feature, from head to tail, reflects a predator designed for lethal efficiency on an epic scale. The ecological impact of Giganotosaurus was profound. Herbivores evolved defenses, migration routes shifted, and the presence of an apex predator influenced the behavior of countless species. It wasn't just a hunter, it was a force shaping evolutionary pressures across the Patagonian plains. Prey adapted, survived, or perished under its relentless gaze. In a cinematic climactic hunt, a juvenile titanosaur wanders near a river at dawn. Mist curls around reeds. Giganotosaurus emerges from cover, silent and immense. Muscles coil, jaws flex, claws dig into the earth. With a thunderous burst it attacks. Dust, water, and panicked cries fill the air. The strike is precise, swift, and fatal. The predator retreats, leaving chaos and awe in its wake, a living testament to the apex of terrestrial predation. Giganotosaurus wasn't merely large, it was an intelligent, strategic, and terrifying predator, perfectly adapted to dominate one of the harshest ecosystems of the late Cretaceous. Its combination of size, speed, hunting strategy, and psychological control ensured that it remained at the top of the food chain. Every kill, every threat, every presence reinforced its reign. When you picture Giganotosaurus, imagine a towering silent shadow moving across Patagonian plains, jaws ready to strike, muscles coiled, and intelligence guiding every move, capable of terrorizing and shaping the ecosystem with unmatched authority. That is Giganotosaurus, the apex predator of Patagonia, a living nightmare in Evolutionary Chapter 12, Velociraptor, the pack hunter genius. The sun rises over the desert plains and sparse dune-filled landscapes of late Cretaceous Mongolia, approximately 75 million years ago. Wind sweeps across arid terrain, carrying the faint scent of dry soil, plants, and distant prey. Shadows flicker across rocky outcrops as small herbivorous dinosaurs graze cautiously. But lurking in the dunes and scrub, a predator moves with precision, intelligence, and deadly intent. Velociraptor. At just 6 to 7 feet long, Velociraptor may seem small compared to massive theropods like Giganotosaurus or Mapusaurus, but what it lacked in size, it made up for in speed, cunning, and coordination. Its slender, feathered body was designed for agility, with long, powerful legs capable of rapid bursts of speed. Its sickle-shaped claws, most notably the enlarged second toe, were biological scalpel blades, capable of piercing, slashing, and immobilizing prey with terrifying precision. Unlike massive solitary predators, Velociraptor relied heavily on intelligence and social strategy. Fossil evidence, including trackways and skeletal finds, suggests that they may have hunted in coordinated packs, much like modern wolves, allowing them to take down prey several times their size. Imagine a group of these agile hunters moving silently across desert flats, each individual poised and alert, eyes fixed on a grazing protoceratops. Every movement is calculated, every stalk synchronized, a deadly choreography honed by evolution. Velociraptor's anatomy reinforced its predatory mastery. Its long arms, equipped with sharp claws, allowed for grasping and pinning prey. Its jaw, filled with serrated teeth, delivered rapid, repeated bites. Its tail, stiffened by bony rods, acted as a dynamic counterbalance, providing stability during high-speed chases and sudden turns. Its keen eyesight and likely excellent sense of smell gave it the ability to detect prey or rival predators from a distance, making it both hunter and tactician. Imagine a cinematic hunt. A juvenile protoceratops strays from its herd near a rocky outcrop. Velociraptors, concealed behind boulders and vegetation, observe silently. Their movements are synchronized, almost imperceptible. One predator initiates a feint, driving the prey toward its companions. With a burst of speed, claws rake, jaws snap, and the prey struggles. The pack attacks from multiple angles, using coordination and precision to subdue it. Within moments, the hunt concludes. Efficient, calculated, and lethal. The pack dynamics of Velociraptor reveal extraordinary intelligence. Coordinated attacks suggest communication, possibly through vocalizations, visual signals, or body posture. Such strategies would allow smaller predators to exploit prey that individually would be impossible to tackle. Fossils of injured velociraptors with healed wounds also indicate social interactions, helping injured pack members survive, or at least tolerating them within the group. a sign of complex behavior and social cognition. Its hunting style combined speed, agility, and strategy. Unlike massive predators, Velociraptor could exploit terrain features like dunes, rocky ridges, and vegetation to corner prey. Its talons could immobilize larger animals, while jaws delivered fatal bites. Opportunistic feeding allowed it to scavenge or strike at isolated juveniles, demonstrating remarkable adaptability in a competitive ecosystem. Velociraptor's presence profoundly affected the behavior of prey species. Herds of protoceratops and small herbivores developed constant vigilance, shifting feeding patterns and defensive formations to counteract this deadly predator. Even small environmental features like rock shadows or scrub cover became sites of tension as prey evaluated every movement, every shadow, every potential threat. Velociraptor was a psychological predator as much as a physical one, shaping the behavior and survival strategies of its ecosystem. Fossil evidence also suggests cannibalistic tendencies in extreme situations, highlighting the predator's opportunistic nature. Survival often demanded ruthlessness and adaptability. Its diet likely included lizards, mammals, small dinosaurs, and possibly eggs, revealing a generalist predatory approach. But hunting in packs allowed Velociraptor to tackle prey significantly larger than itself. A dramatic cinematic scene unfolds. Dusk settles over the dunes. A herd of small herbivores approaches a waterhole. Velociraptors, hidden behind boulders, track their movements. One feigns a stumble, drawing attention and creating an opening. The pack strikes in perfect unison. Claws pierce, jaws snap, and chaos erupts. Dust and sand fly as prey scramble. Within seconds, the pack emerges victorious, efficient, and deadly, a testament to intelligence, precision, and coordination. Its agility was remarkable. Lightweight, flexible bones, long legs, and stiffened tail allowed unprecedented maneuverability during pursuits. This allowed Velociraptor to chase prey across uneven terrain, dodge attacks, and make sudden changes in direction. A predator built for unpredictability and speed. Its hunting efficiency was a combination of biomechanical perfection and social strategy, creating one of the most effective small predators in prehistoric history. Even solitary encounters reveal lethal capability. A lone velociraptor confronting an injured or trapped animal could immobilize it with talons, delivering repeated bites to incapacitate the prey quickly. It was not just a predator, it was an executioner adapted to exploit weaknesses, anticipate reactions, and strike with precision. The psychological dimension of velociraptor hunting cannot be overstated. Prey learned that straying from safety or underestimating the predator could be fatal. Social learning within prey species evolved to counteract these hunters, creating an evolutionary arms race that honed both predator and prey behavior. Velociraptor thrived in this dynamic ecosystem by leveraging intelligence, coordination, and lethal efficiency. Consider the climax of a cinematic hunt. A juvenile dinosaur wanders too far from the herd. Velociraptor stalks silently, tail stiff, claws ready. The pack splits, flanking the prey from both sides. Dust swirls, shadows shift, jaws snap, and the prey struggles futilely. Precision strikes immobilize it, and the hunt ends with efficiency and skill. The pack retreats, leaving only the silence of the desert and the lingering terror of an apex small predator. Velociraptor teaches us that size isn't the ultimate measure of danger. Intelligence, coordination, agility, and lethal specialization can make even small predators apex hunters in their own ecological niche. It ruled not with brute strength, but with brains, speed, and strategy. A predator perfectly adapted to dominate the late Cretaceous deserts. When picturing Velociraptor, imagine feathered, shadowy hunters moving in perfect coordination, claws slicing, jaws snapping, eyes locked on prey, a predator that rewrites survival rules with every calculated strike. This is Velociraptor, the pack hunter genius, a master of speed, intelligence, and terror in the prehistoric world. Masterpiece. Chapter 13. Cryolophosaurus, the ice-crested hunter. Imagine a frozen world, 190 million years ago, where snow-covered forests stretch as far as the eye can see, rivers freeze and thaw with the brief Antarctic summers, and the wind howls across endless plains of ice and tundra. It is the early Jurassic, and amidst this harsh, unforgiving landscape, one predator reigned supreme: Cryolophosaurus, the ice-crested hunter. Cryolophosaurus was a medium to large theropod, reaching lengths of up to 26 feet and weighing over a ton. Its most striking feature, a distinctive cranial crest running across its head like a frozen blade, was likely used for display, intimidation, or communication within the species. But this dinosaur was far more than a visual spectacle. Its long legs, powerful jaws, and sharp teeth made it a formidable predator, capable of thriving in one of Earth's most extreme environments. Antarctica, during the early Jurassic, was not the frozen desert we know today. It was cold, yes, but heavily forested with ferns, cycads, and primitive conifers. Daylight extremes fluctuated seasonally, creating periods of continuous darkness and light. Cryolophosaurus had to hunt, survive, and reproduce in a world that demanded both physical prowess and adaptability. Its large, curved teeth were perfect for slicing through the flesh of contemporaneous herbivorous dinosaurs, while its keen vision allowed it to detect subtle movements in the shadows of the polar forests. Imagine a cinematic hunt. A herd of early sauropodomorphs grazes along the frozen riverbank. Cryolophosaurus lurks in the shadows, its crest catching the glint of the weak polar sun. Silent and deliberate, it stalks, moving across snow-dusted undergrowth with surprising agility. A misstep or a stumble by a juvenile herbivore triggers the predator's explosive sprint. Powerful legs propel it forward, tail balancing every movement, jaws snapping shut on flesh and muscle. Within moments, the prey collapses, leaving the icy forest echoing with chaos and life-and-death struggle. Cryolophosaurus was not just a solitary hunter. Fossil evidence hints at possible social or opportunistic group hunting. Although direct proof of pack behavior is limited, multiple individuals found in proximity suggest cooperation in hunting, or at least temporary association. This ability to adapt socially, even loosely, would have been a tremendous advantage in an environment where prey was scarce and survival required strategy. Its crest, bizarre and striking, may have served a dual purpose. Visually, it could intimidate rivals or attract mates, signaling dominance, size, and health. Functionally, it may have aided in species recognition in the low-visibility polar forests. Picture 2, Cryolophosaurus confronting each other over territory or prey. The crests rise, heads tilt, and the snow seems to shiver with tension before one yields, a predator asserting dominance without wasting energy on injury. Anatomically, Cryolophosaurus was a marvel of evolutionary adaptation. Strong hind limbs enabled bursts of speed over icy terrain. Clawed hands could grasp struggling prey, while its jaws delivered precise, deadly bites. Eyes adapted for low-light conditions allowed it to hunt during polar twilight, and its muscular tail provided balance during sudden maneuvers, leaps, or turns. Every physical trait was honed for hunting efficiency in extreme cold and challenging terrain. Consider the psychological effect on prey. Sauropodomorphs and smaller herbivorous dinosaurs adjusted grazing habits, avoided open clearings, and moved in tighter herds during the long polar nights. Even creatures smaller than humans' imagination of dinosaur prey developed strategies to escape or hide, influenced by Cryolophosaurus's presence. The predator's dominance extended beyond kills. It reshaped behavior and survival strategies across the ecosystem. The hunting strategy combined patience, stealth, and precision. Cryolophosaurus could stalk quietly through icy forests for hours, using terrain features to conceal approach. Once within striking distance, its attack was explosive and precise, targeting vulnerable areas such as limbs, necks, or flanks. Fossil evidence of bite marks on prey suggests repeated, calculated strikes rather than random mauling, indicating a predator capable of planning and executing complex predatory tactics. A cinematic sequence unfolds. Night falls over the icy forest. Long shadows stretch across snow and frozen rivers. Cryolophosaurus moves silently, crest silhouetted against the dim light. A juvenile sauropodomorph strays near a clearing. The predator positions itself, tail balancing, eyes locked. Then a sudden burst. Legs propel forward, jaws clamp, and the hunt concludes with lethal precision. Dust, snow, and blood are thrown into the cold night air. Survival demands efficiency, and Cryolophosaurus delivers. Adaptability was key. The predator may have scavenged opportunistically when hunting was too risky or prey scarce. Its flexible diet and versatile hunting strategies allowed it to thrive in an environment where food availability fluctuated seasonally, a necessity in polar ecosystems. Its intelligence, stealth, and physical prowess combined to create a predator that dominated its niche through skill, adaptability, and ruthlessness. Cryolophosaurus's ecological impact was profound. Its presence shaped prey behavior, predator-prey dynamics, and ecosystem balance. Smaller carnivores adapted to its dominance, scavenging its leftovers or avoiding its hunting grounds. Prey species adjusted movement patterns and herd dynamics. Even environmental pressures, such as extreme weather and daylight cycles, were navigated more successfully thanks to Cryolophosaurus's influence on survival strategies within the ecosystem. In the climax of a cinematic hunt, dawn breaks across snow-laden plains. Frosted branches glisten as Cryolophosaurus stalks a grazing herd. A juvenile strays, unaware of the danger. Powerful legs coil, muscles tense, tail balancing. In a sudden, fluid burst, the predator strikes, jaws slicing, claws grasping, the hunt ending in seconds. Silence returns, broken only by the flapping wings of startled birds and the distant cries of fleeing herbivores. Efficiency, intelligence, and lethal precision define every moment of this predator's life. Cryolophosaurus was more than a predator. It was an engineer of survival, a master of strategy, and a dominant presence in a world of extreme conditions. Its combination of size, intelligence, agility, and adaptability ensured it reigned supreme in polar forests where few predators could survive. Each kill, each hunt, each display of dominance reinforced its apex status. When picturing Cryolophosaurus, imagine a shadow gliding across snow-dusted forests, a crest catching pale sunlight, jaws snapping, claws raking, eyes calculating, a predator perfectly adapted to ice and darkness. This is Cryolophosaurus, the ice-crested hunter, a master of survival, strategy, and terror in the polar Jurassic world. Raptor 14, Torvosaurus, the savage giant of the Jurassic. The forests of the late Jurassic stretch endlessly, dense with ferns, cycads, and towering conifers. Mist clings to the ground in the early morning, and the air vibrates with the calls of distant herbivorous dinosaurs. Amidst this prehistoric cacophony, a predator moves with terrifying purpose. Torvosaurus, one of the largest theropods of its time. Torvosaurus could reach up to 33 feet in length, with a massive skull lined with long serrated teeth capable of slicing through flesh and bone alike. Weighing several tons, it combined raw power with surprising agility, making it a top predator in the vast Jurassic forests of North America and Europe. Its long, muscular legs allowed bursts of speed, while its robust jaws delivered lethal bites. Every movement, from stalking to striking, demonstrated a predator designed for efficiency and dominance. Imagine a cinematic morning hunt. A herd of stegosaurs grazes cautiously near a clearing. Torvosaurus emerges from the shadows of towering conifers, its enormous frame partially hidden by mist and vegetation. The predator moves deliberately, muscles rippling beneath its scaly skin. Eyes lock on a slower or distracted individual, and the hunt begins. With explosive acceleration, it closes the distance. Powerful jaws clamp down, claws rake, and within moments, the prey is incapacitated. The forest echoes with the violent symphony of predator and prey. Unlike some smaller theropods, Torvosaurus did not rely on pack coordination. Its immense size and strength allowed it to hunt alone, taking down large herbivores with sheer force. Yet, fossil evidence indicates opportunistic behavior. It may have scavenged or taken advantage of moments when prey was weakened or isolated. Its hunting strategies blended patience, power, and precision, proving that domination could be achieved without numbers, but with efficiency and strategic execution. Torvosaurus's anatomy reflects its role as an apex predator. Strong muscular forelimbs equipped with large claws could grasp struggling prey, while robust hind limbs propelled it through dense forest undergrowth. Its jaw structure, combined with serrated teeth, allowed it to tear through tough hides, muscles, and even bone. Its tail provided balance during sudden lunges or rapid directional changes, a perfect evolutionary adaptation for hunting large, sometimes dangerous prey. Consider the psychological impact on its prey. Herbivorous dinosaurs, from stegosaurs to ornithopods, adjusted grazing habits, moved in tighter formations, and avoided areas frequented by this predator. Even smaller carnivores had to navigate the shadow of Torvosaurus carefully, scavenging only when the giant predator was absent. Its dominance reshaped the ecosystem, influencing behavior, migration, and survival strategies across species. A cinematic hunt sequence comes to life. A juvenile stegosaurus wanders near a stream separated from the herd. Mist swirls around massive trees. Torvosaurus moves silently, eyes fixed on the target. With a sudden, explosive burst, it lunges, jaws snapping, claws striking. The prey struggles but is quickly subdued. The predator consumes its kill efficiently, minimizing energy expenditure while maximizing reward, a hallmark of evolutionary perfection. Fossil evidence shows that Torvosaurus was opportunistic. Bite marks on dinosaur bones indicate scavenging behavior when hunting live prey was too risky. This flexibility allowed it to thrive in diverse environments, from open plains to dense forests. Its ability to adapt behaviorally and physically to different hunting challenges made it one of the most versatile apex predators of the Jurassic. Even among large theropods, Torvosaurus stood out for its combination of size, strength, and intelligence. While sheer bulk could intimidate rivals and prey, precision strikes and calculated stalking revealed a predator capable of strategy as well as brute force. Fossils with healed injuries indicate occasional intraspecific confrontations, likely over territory or prey, but these were rare, suggesting that dominance was established and respected among adult predators. Its ecological influence was profound. Torvosaurus' presence affected herd formations, migration patterns, and the evolution of defensive adaptations in herbivores. Stegosaur plates, thick hides, and herd vigilance may have developed in part as a response to the threat of predators like Torvosaurus. Its hunting pressure created a dynamic ecosystem where predator and prey constantly adapted to each other, a vivid dance of evolution. Another cinematic scene: night falls over the forest. Shadows deepen. Torvosaurus moves along a riverbank, nostrils flaring, senses alert. A herd of ornithopods grazes nearby, one strays too close. With a sudden, fluid burst of power, the predator strikes. Dust and foliage fly. Claws rake, jaws clamp, and the hunt concludes with lethal precision. Torvosaurus retreats into the forest, leaving behind a scene of chaos and awe, a reminder that the apex predator's presence dominates every corner of the ecosystem. Torvosaurus demonstrates that size, strength, and intelligence, combined with patience and precision, create a predator capable of shaping its environment and controlling the flow of life around it. It was not merely a hunter, it was a force of nature, an evolutionary marvel that ruled the Jurassic forests with unmatched authority. When picturing Torvosaurus, imagine a colossal shadow moving silently through mist-covered conifers, jaws snapping, claws striking, eyes calculating, a predator whose very presence dictates survival for every creature around it. This is Torvosaurus, the savage giant of the Jurassic, a master of power, strategy, and lethal precision. Chapter 15. T-Rex. The final word on prehistoric terror. The sun rises over the floodplains and river valleys of late Cretaceous North America, roughly 66 million years ago. Mist hovers over lush vegetation, and the air is heavy with the scent of earth, water, and life. Dinosaurs of every shape and size stir in the morning light. But among them, one predator commands every glance, every instinct, every ounce of survival energy: Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of prehistoric terror. T-Rex was colossal, measuring up to 40 feet in length and weighing nearly 9 tons. Its massive skull, lined with teeth over a foot long, could deliver bone-crushing bites strong enough to shatter vertebrae or split the thickest armor. Muscles rippled under its scaled skin as it moved with surprising speed for a creature of its size. Every step, every glance, every strike of T-Rex was a lesson in power, precision, and evolutionary mastery. Imagine a cinematic dawn scene. A herd of hadrosaurs grazes near a river. Mist curls between trees. Suddenly the earth shakes. a distant but unmistakable rhythm of enormous feet. The predator emerges. T-Rex, eyes sharp, nostrils flaring, teeth glinting in the sun. The herd panics. Chaos erupts. With calculated bursts of speed and explosive power, T-Rex strikes. The kill is swift, brutal, and efficient. Witnessing this apex predator in action is like watching a force of nature unfold. Unlike many theropods, T-Rex was more than just size and strength. Fossil evidence and biomechanical reconstructions suggest remarkable intelligence, keen senses, and strategic hunting ability. Its massive skull and jaw muscles delivered unparalleled bite force, but it also had forward-facing eyes for depth perception, sensitive olfactory lobes for detecting prey over kilometers, and strong auditory capabilities to detect distant movements. Every sense honed T-Rex into the ultimate predator, capable of stalking, ambushing, or overpowering prey with lethal efficiency. T-Rex was both a hunter and, when opportunity allowed, a scavenger. Its size meant it could dominate carcasses, forcing other predators away. But it wasn't just brute strength. T-Rex observed, calculated, and exploited weaknesses, choosing the easiest, most rewarding targets. Young triceratops, injured hadrosaurs, or sick ankylosaurs were prime prey, but nothing was safe from a determined T-Rex. Its anatomy reflected a predator built for precision and power. Long, muscular legs propelled it at surprising speeds for short bursts, allowing rapid ambush attacks or effective pursuit. Its massive tail provided balance during turns or sudden lunges. Its forelimbs, though tiny relative to its body, were highly muscular and likely used for gripping struggling prey or aiding in rising from a prone position. Its teeth, serrated and robust, were perfectly suited to tearing through flesh, crushing bone, and maximizing energy from each kill. Imagine another cinematic scene. Dusk falls over a swampy riverbank. Mist rises from stagnant pools. A young herd of ceratopsians feeds cautiously. The predator moves silently through tall ferns, tail stiff, eyes locked. The herd freezes, senses alert. Then, with a terrifying roar, T-Rex charges. Dust and water explode around its massive legs. Teeth clamp down, bones crack, and the hunt is over in moments. The predator retreats into shadow, leaving behind chaos, awe, and the lingering sense of absolute dominance. T-Rex intelligence extended beyond mere hunting. Fossilized evidence of healed injuries and interactions with other T-Rex individuals suggests complex social, or at least adaptive, behavior. Some scientists hypothesize they may have engaged in brief alliances, territory displays, or competitive hierarchies, indicating that survival at the top of the food chain required not just strength, but brain power. The ecological impact of T-Rex was profound. Its presence influenced prey behavior, predator distribution, and even vegetation patterns. Herds of herbivores developed defensive formations, early warning systems, and migration strategies to avoid the king predator. Smaller carnivores scavenged with caution, timing their activity around T-Rex hunting cycles. Every corner of the ecosystem was shaped by the predator's existence. It was not just a hunter, but a force shaping the very structure of life around it. Consider its roar, reconstructed from fossil studies and comparisons with modern relatives. A deep, resonant sound capable of carrying across kilometers, signaling dominance, warning rivals, or possibly communicating within species. In the prehistoric forest, a single T-Rex could alter the behavior of multiple species with sound alone, a psychological impact as powerful as its physical prowess. T-Rex hunting strategies were versatile. While capable of ambushing unsuspecting prey, it also displayed persistence hunting, using its speed and endurance to wear down victims. Observations of fossilized trackways suggest short bursts of speed, interspersed with calculated stalking, enabling the predator to exploit terrain and prey behavior to its advantage. It could take down animals larger than itself, such as juvenile sauropods, demonstrating predatory skill, adaptability, and audacious strategy. A cinematic climactic hunt unfolds. The sun sets, casting long shadows across the floodplain. A mixed herd of hadrosaurs and ceratopsians grazes near water. T-Rex approaches silently. Dust and mud cling to its enormous feet. A juvenile strays from the herd. With a sudden burst of explosive power, T-Rex charges. Teeth snap, tails thrash, and the kill is decisive. Silence returns. Only the predator remains, surveying its domain with unchallenged authority. This is the ultimate apex predator in its element. Even in death, T-Rex left an indelible mark. Fossilized remains reveal injuries, battles, and adaptations, showing that even the king faced challenges but prevailed through resilience, strength, and intelligence. Its evolutionary legacy inspired countless successors in predator design, influencing how we understand the dynamics of apex predation, biomechanical engineering, and survival strategy. Now, as we close this epic journey, picture T-Rex in all its glory. Standing atop a ridge, sunlight glinting off its massive skull, nostrils flaring, tail balancing, jaws ready to strike. Every movement embodies power, intelligence, and evolutionary perfection. Around it, the ecosystem bends, herds adjust, smaller predators retreat, and the environment itself feels the weight of the apex predator. T-Rex is more than a dinosaur. It is the embodiment of prehistoric terror, evolutionary mastery, and apex predation. It rules not just through strength, but through presence, intelligence, and an understanding of its world encoded in every sinew, every bone, every calculated strike. It is the final word on prehistoric terror, a creature whose shadow still captivates our imagination millions of years later. As the sun sets on the late Cretaceous, T-Rex surveys its domain one last time. Every roar, every hunt, every display of dominance speaks of a life perfected for survival. And as the world moves forward, leaving behind the age of dinosaurs, the memory of T-Rex endures, a king, a terror, and the ultimate predator of Earth's prehistoric stage.